When I was growing up, my dad was an auto mechanic. He could fix just about anything. Gold level certified, ASE certified, all the tools you could ever dream of. My dad can fix anything. It's amazing what he can just make work. He's a wizard at this stuff. And you'd naturally think that as his son, I would have picked up on some of that. But honestly, I don't even know how to change the oil in this car. I got nothing for you. I don't think I could change a tire. I can't change the oil. I don't know how they work. I don't understand how an engine works. I know that there's like crankshafts and pistons probably, and they go up and down. Spark plugs. I don't know how this stuff works. I'm sure anybody that knows anything about it could probably be like, well, what an idiot. How does he not know how a car works? But there are certain things out there that we just don't understand how they work. Like, where does the power come from? And as we get into Joshua here, chapter 1, we're going to be looking at verses 7 and 8 of Joshua chapter 1. And as you remember from last time, God is trying to give Joshua some support here in this first chapter. Moses is dead. Joshua's now number one guy, and he's going to lead the children of Israel into the promised land. But Joshua, under the leadership of Moses, probably thought he had it pretty easy. But now Moses is dead, and now it's Joshua's turn, and God is going to come alongside Joshua to try to lift him up, perk him up, get him ready to go. And last time we saw that God reminded him of his promise. He's going to be with him just as he was with Moses. But now today, God's going to remind him of his power. Where does this power come from? How does this machine work? So just because God says, oh, I'm going to be with you, what does that mean? Where does the power come from? Let's see where the power comes from. Joshua chapter 1, verses 7 and 8 goes a little something like this. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. So what was it going to take for Joshua to find success? Where does the power come from? It comes from keeping the law. In the Old Testament, that is how it worked. God wanted them to keep the law, to keep covenant, to keep their end of the bargain. So you remember back in Sinai, all the way back in the book of Exodus, God gave the 10 commandments to the people, and they all said, yep, we're going to do it. And God says, all right, I'm going to hold you to it then. And he tells them in Deuteronomy, if you keep covenant, if you do what you're told, you keep the commandments, you will have blessings. If you don't, I'm going to bring famine, and life's going to be challenging for you. That's why when you read the book of Ruth, it says in those days there was famine in the land in chapter 1 and verse 1, and you know immediately what's going on. They've not been keeping covenant. As you read through the Kings and First Chronicles and Second Chronicles, First Kings, Second Kings, whatever, as the author is understanding who the kings are, when they're bad kings because they don't keep covenant. This is where the power comes from. Your obedience to God in doing what he wants you to do, following through with what he wants you to do. The sooner we're able to learn how to trust God and just do what he tells us to do, the easier everything's going to be for us. Just learn to trust him. Do what he asks you to do. And you'll find so much power, so much opportunity there, because that is how God is able to bless us. He's not going to bless you for your disobedience. Who do you think you are? No. Obedience, following the law, doing what is right, keeping covenant, doing what God wants you to do. And God is telling Joshua, this is where the power comes from. Do what I ask you to do and do it well. Don't turn from the right hand to the left. Meditate on it all the time.